Hello and welcome to another video, another sit down, chatty little video whilst I'm currently physically indisposed due to me falling over snowboarding. I can't actually go out and enjoy the sun because I'm in just constant pain. So I thought I would sit down and do some videos, some proper videos and not just vlog stuff. So I've been vlogging fairly consistently for the past couple of weeks, and I thought this weekend I would take another break and just sit down and film a load of these like nice chattier videos. So I came up with a tag because back in the day when I used to do beauty YouTube stuff, I used to do loads of tags. Like, people were just tagging people left, right and centre. So I kind of wanted to go back to that because I feel like it's a good structure to have. So I made up my own tag, and it is called the Treat Yourself tag. And I had a look, and as far as I can tell, this hasn't been done yet. So I am claiming this as my own. I've got 12 questions, and basically they are all about self-care and how you look after yourself and how you look after your body and your mind in conjunction with each other, because that is what I am all about. So yeah, I'm gonna get straight into it and then tag a few people at the end of this video. Whether they will do it or not is completely up to them, but I thought I would just throw the gauntlet into the ring. Is that a saying? Is that a phrase? So the first question is, how do you deal with stress? So I get stressed very easily. I suffer with anxiety, I suffer with depression. So stress has quite a, what's the word? Profound effect on me. Not just mentally, but also physically. So I always notice if I'm really, really stressed, then I will lose my hair. Like, I will molt like a dog. So dealing with stress is something that over the years I've had to kind of learn how to do effectively. Not just so I can function like a normal human being, but also so I can, you know, not go bald, which is always good. So the way I would deal with that is I try and meditate quite regularly anyway, every day. I mean, yesterday I ruined my streak and I'm really annoyed, but anyway, every day I try and meditate. But if I am particularly stressed at any point, then I'll try and add in like an extra meditation in the day. So for example, if I'm at work, then I'll go for a walk, or I'll separate myself onto a nice comfy chair or something and then just do some breathing exercises. And that's pretty much how I deal with stress. There's not really any other way for me to handle stress. That's pretty much it. How often do you meditate? So I try and meditate every day, once in the evening. However, Fridays, sometimes I miss a day because I like to go out and drink, and so sometimes I won't get back till like 2 in the morning. That's probably presumptuous. I don't think I can do 2 in the morning anymore. Probably like 12ish, but on my app, I think I got up to like a 47-day streak, and yesterday I went out for my sister's birthday and ruined my 47-day streak because I didn't get back in time to do my 10-minute meditation. But I try and do 10 minutes every day. It just helps me to just take some time and chill and process everything. So yeah, 10 minutes every day. How do you deal with a bad day? I used to deal with a bad day by heading straight to the shop and buying some chocolate. I still kind of do that now, but I buy less chocolate. So usually I would buy a massive big, like the dairy milk bars that you're supposed to share, and I think they actually say on them, share bars. I do not share those, I just eat them all myself. I am a major chocoholic, so that is an issue, but I will tend to kind of treat myself if I'm having a really bad day. Then I'll skip a workout if I'm just really, because usually if I have a really bad day, I have no energy either. So if I'm really tired, then I'll skip a workout, or sometimes I'll force myself to do like a HIIT session or a cardio session, or try and push myself in a weight session, just so that I've kind of got something I can be like, oh, well, you know, even though I had a really shit day, I managed to do a HIIT workout and now I feel awesome. So it depends kind of what kind of day it is. If it's just a bad day in general, like everyone has bad days, and if it's just one of those, then I will literally maybe do a workout. Most likely I will buy some chocolate and watch Netflix, but yeah. How do you cope with lack of self-confidence? This is something that I have a lot of trouble with. I've been treated for it before in therapy sessions with the NHS. I've talked about kind of my mental health and my story and stuff in another video, which I'll link down below and at the end of this video as well. But yeah, I've worked on self-confidence and kind of negative thought kind of things in the past. So I'm not completely on top of it just yet, but the way that I would usually deal with it, for example, if it's negative thoughts, we learnt, I say we, I don't know why I said we, I learned in a therapy session about challenging negative thoughts. So it's basically like, she explained it as if you are in a courtroom and you are both the defense and the prosecution. So you have arguments for that negative thought and you have arguments against that negative thought. So it's all about laying out all the facts on the table and basically rationalizing everything. So I will usually write it down. So if I have a negative thought or I have a moment where I have a really low self-confidence, then I'll write it down and then I'll come up with evidence as to why that thought is not true. And then you can write down a more truthful, positive thought once you've gone all through that and you've got all your evidence and stuff like that. So that was kind of the challenging negative thought process. And so I'll usually do that, but it kind of, again, it depends what kind of self-confidence stuff it is or why. Like if something's triggered it, then that's a whole different kettle of fish. I'll probably do a whole nother video on that actually, because there's a couple of different things that I would do that I don't want to kind of waffle on about in this one. So, but yeah, the challenging negative thoughts one is probably the main one. How do you deal with negativity? So that's kind of negativity in yourself rather than other people. But in myself, it's pretty much what I just said. So challenging negative thoughts, coming up with reasons why those negative thoughts aren't true and why I shouldn't listen to them, and writing all that down. Also, I'll just write it down anyway because I have a journal, so I will usually write down an entry as if I'm just talking to myself, so like a letter to myself. I think that's pretty much it for like challenging negativity. I think it's really just challenging the thoughts. So if you have a lot of negative thoughts, there's always going to be one side of you that's kind of like, no, come on now, you know that isn't true. And it's about trying to balance those two sides of you. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Number 6 is, what is your happy place? So my happy place would probably be in like a forest or like woods or something. I've always had this thing about trees. Like I tend to, I have a thing about trees, and yet I keep moving to city centres. Like I went to Cardiff University, well not Cardiff University, I went to the University of South Wales. So I was based in Cardiff city centre for like 3 years. And I just missed trees, like just being in forests and woods and stuff. So when I was growing up, that was pretty much all I was ever in, was just like the forest behind our house and the woods and all of that. So yeah, I think probably like a nice wood with some trees and like bunny rabbits and other wildlife things. Number 7, what's one thing that helps you unwind? So that would probably be, at the moment, probably just like watching TV. One thing actually that does really help me is watching Whose Line Is It Anyway? Whose Line Is It Anyway? I think probably will be my all-time favourite show because it's hilarious. It doesn't ever fail to cheer me up. And I would love to go to a recording of Whose Line Is It Anyway. And actually me and my friend Coral have spoken about trying to go over to LA next year and get tickets for a taping of Whose Line Is It Anyway. But obviously TV show tapings are ridiculously hard to get anyway. anyway. So we're gonna have a go, but we may not be able to get some, but that would be awesome. But yeah, I watch Whose Line Is It Anyway. Probably, I want to say workout. Sometimes I will. If I'm feeling a bit tense and like stressed, I will work out. I'll do maybe like a HIIT, because it tends to take my mind off it, because I'm so focused on the fact that I'm hyperventilating and probably will die from all the cardio. So yeah, either that or a HIIT workout. What was the question? I also paint as well, so that desk in the back is where I do like little watercolors and stuff. And at the moment I'm painting like little tarot cards, which I've shown in one of my vlogs, I think my first vlog 1 I think. But yeah, so sometimes I'll paint as well, and that helps. Just anything that kind of takes my mind off whatever has been going on in the day. How do you make sure to look after your body and your mind? So over a couple of years, I'm going to do a separate video on this as well, about kind of my relationship with body confidence and negativity around the way I look and my body and stuff like that. So I'll do a whole other video on that. But to kind of summarize it, recently, say in the past 3 months or so, I kind of had like a eureka moment, which is why I started blogging, why I started vlogging and doing all this. And it was kind of this moment where I realized that over the last few years, I had basically been working out, dieting, yo-yo dieting to get this body that I've always wanted. And at one point I actually did. I got down to about, I think the lightest I've ever been is about 10 stone 8, which is about 100, was it 148 pounds or 149 or something like that. It's in the 140s. That's the lightest I've ever been. So I was quite thin, because I'm about 5'5", but I'm built quite stocky anyway, so I did look quite slim in the face. And I got to that point and I still wasn't happy. In fact, I was miserable. I didn't feel like myself. I just felt awful. And it took me a few years, a few bouts of depression, battling with depression, and I just recently realised that my fitness needs to be very much interlinked with my mental health. So if I work out, I'll only work out if I want to work out. If I really, really don't want to work out, I just won't, because it makes it not fun for me. And if it's not fun, it's not worth doing. So I try and make sure that all the workouts I do, I enjoy. I try and not push myself if I'm really, really tired, because sometimes I do have days where I'm just completely drained, so I won't work out at all. And I try and eat quite healthily as well. I'm going to do a video on whether food can help you with mental health. I'm actually going to film that right after this one. So yeah, I try and eat as well as possible and stay away from a lot of processed sugars, but I do love chocolate. So occasionally I will have a giant bar of chocolate, but I try and keep away from it as much as possible, kind of day to day, and then I'll treat myself maybe in the week. But that's pretty much it, just kind of finding a balance between not forcing myself to live a fitness life that I don't actually want to live, because then that's going to damage my mental health, and then it's all going to tie in together and it's just not going to do you any good whatsoever, and it's going to be a waste of time. So yeah. What's one bit of advice that you live by? I wrote these questions and now I don't even know. People in my family don't like to give advice because then we're held accountable. I went to a Girl Games event recently, and that was kind of the catalyst to start me off from doing all these blogs and stuff, and setting out on like a fitness lifestyle rather than a fad. And they were basically talking about setting goals that were non-aesthetic and setting goals that, I don't know, like that had a wider, more influential purpose to it. So instead of just being like, oh, I want to be a size 10, like thinking about goals in, you know, how do you want to feel? How do you want to, like, what do you want from life? What do you want to do day to day? What makes you happy? Stuff like that. So it's more just focusing on the bigger picture, I think, is the advice that I would live by. I always try and focus on the bigger picture rather than the little things. What's your favourite treat food / meal? So this isn't like healthy stuff, this is like what do you like to treat yourself with. And mine would be would probably be something chocolatey, like cookies. But I like to make a meal of like a dessert. Like if I could just eat dessert, then I would do. So it would probably be like those freak shakes, or like, I don't know, like a cookie brownie hybrid. Something that like combines all cookie goodness with cake goodness and chocolate and like syrup and cream and ice cream, even though I can't eat a lot of ice cream because I have a slight dairy intolerance, but I will risk it for a chocolate biscuit. So yeah, anything with basically a lot of sugar and a lot of chocolate in is what my treat meal would be. What's your favourite way to work out? So at the moment, I really like to do strength training. So I have some weights in my room, and I'm also waiting for my gym to open, which is why I have to do all my workouts at home. But I have some weights in my room, and I tend to do a lot of strength training because I just like how strong I feel afterwards. So that's the main way I like to work out, but I also do like to challenge myself sometimes and do hits. And then also I love to snowboard, which is what this is here. I can't even got my glasses on, I can't see what I'm pointing at. Ta-da! That's what that is. And it's also why I'm currently in a lot of pain because I fell on my ass and now it hurts. I bruised my tailbone quite badly, and I got told to man up by my instructor, which he was right, and I did, but I'm still in pain 3 days later. So yeah, it's dangerous, it hurts, but it is a hell of a lot of fun and a very good workout because you are just going up and down constantly. And it may not seem it when you watch it, but it's very strenuous. So snowboarding, also a great way to work out. And the final question is, what's one piece of advice you would give to everyone